We end today with something rather exciting. It's not often that I'm out ahead of the progressive curve. I rarely get somewhere before the woke bandwagon arrives, but that seems to be the case this time. There is this week controversy and outrage over the Netflix reality show Love is Blind. Now, for those with IQs above 75 that have prevented you from watching a show like this, the basic premise, as I understand it, is that contestants are locked in isolation pods where they meet other contestants by talking to them through a wall. And they then, I guess, select which disembodied voice they like the most. They talk some more to that person. Then they get engaged before the big reveal where they actually meet in person. At which point they're instructed to fight to the death with their bare hands. Now, that would actually be a much better show. In this one, they instead get married. And then as soon as the cameras turn off, they get divorced. A true fairy tale romance. Now, there have actually been multiple controversies around this show recently. The first is a lawsuit from a contestant on an earlier season because they've done multiple seasons of this show because that's the sort of interest there is in this content because we're surrounded by morons. And the contestant alleges that producers starved him, deprived him of sleep, and forced him to get drunk, all of which makes the show sound way more entertaining than it actually is. But that's not the controversy that matters here. The bigger outrage is over the fact that the show only features physically attractive people. I'm proud to say that I spearheaded this woke backlash in a YouTube video we put out at the beginning of the month where I reacted to reality show trailers, including one for Love is Blind. That was the first I'd ever heard of Love is Blind, and upon seeing the commercial, I immediately pointed out this glaring flaw in the plot. Everyone on the show appears to be like a solid 7 or 8. And this means there is nothing at stake, nothing on the line. All the contestants end up with attractive people. To give the show some suspense, some comedy, some tragedy, you need to throw a few Michael Moores into the mix. There should be a scene where a highly attractive woman falls in love with a man behind the wall, gets engaged, and the big reveal happens, and she recoils in horror when a character from the Star Wars bar scene walks out. Now that would be great television, matching supermodels with Ripley's Believe It or Not displays. I would sit down and watch a show like that. I would take the hit to my IQ to watch that show. Admittedly, the woke criticism of Love is Blind is not quite the same. Both me and the left are upset that there are not ugly people on the show, but they're upset for a slightly different reason. For them, the problem is the lack of body diversity and inclusion on the show. The backlash became severe enough that one of the show's hosts, Vanessa Lachey, who I assume is married to the guy from Backstreet Boys, addressed it in an interview with Insider, claiming that there are no fat or ugly people on the show because they're simply too insecure to appear. It was like self-selection, she said. But the mob isn't buying that excuse. BuzzFeed took her to task, saying, and this is what they wrote in their article, if you've watched Love is Blind, you've probably, definitely noticed that the group of contestants who make it to air don't reflect body diversity at all. In a recent interview with Insider, Vanessa tried to explain why the show doesn't embrace body diversity in any real way. Her answer was not great. In response to being asked about the show's lack of body diversity, Vanessa says she sometimes thinks certain contestants don't make it past the pods portion of the show because they can't fit inside of it. That's actually not what she said. Because they're insecure. So if I'm reading this right, Vanessa's reason why the show doesn't include diverse bodies in its cast is because some contestants are simply too insecure about their bodies to appear on the show. Something tells me we might be getting a clarification from Vanessa in the future regarding her comments. Or maybe not. Either way, we'll see if Love is Blind goes in more diverse directions casting-wise when it returns for its 3rd season. Time will tell. Well, if nothing else, we can agree that BuzzFeed continues to feature great writing and important journalism. Huffington Post isn't buying Vanessa's excuse either. They write, Love is Blind has yet to prominently feature a contestant who is plus size, visibly disabled, or older than 40, which seems odd since the concept of the show is to fall in love with someone's personality rather than their physical appearance. Now, of course, the real reason that the show only has attractive people, the reason that most shows only feature attractive people, this current show that you're watching is an exception, the reason is that viewers prefer to watch attractive people. Hence the term attractive. This is doubly the case if the show revolves around love and romance. People may watch a show like My 600-Pound Life, but they probably wouldn't watch My 600-Pound Wedding. Well, they might watch that, but for very different reasons than they watch the typical reality dating show, and that's about all that needs to be said about this. But I'll say more anyway, because there's one more point I think that needs to be made. Huffington Post says that the point of the show is for people to fall in love with personality rather than physical appearance. But the idea that you can love somebody for their personality totally apart from their appearance is a myth, okay? It's a popular myth. It's one that my generation in particular was fed early and often, but it's a myth. Of course, you shouldn't and really can't love somebody entirely for their looks, but their looks are an important part of the package. It's part of who they are. It's what draws you to someone, especially early in the relationship. But even as you grow together and you get to know each other on a deeper level, still their appearance, their body, their physical look and presence will remain extremely important. Your body is not just some sort of meaningless shell which contains your personality and your truer essence. Your body is who you are. You're more than your physical body. Okay, you're not merely your physical body, but you are also your body. It really is not possible, therefore, to love someone and not love their body because their body is them. This distinction between looks and personality doesn't even make sense. Your personality is what makes you as a person different from other people. That includes your body, your face, your physical appearance and mannerisms. All of that is part of your personality because it's part of your person. It's what makes you you and not somebody else. This is actually an important point for two reasons, neither of which have anything to do with reality shows. The first is that people who really buy into this appearance doesn't matter idea are more likely to get married and then completely let themselves go, transforming very quickly into a physical specimen quite different from the one that their spouse married. Now, obviously, we all change over time gradually as we get older, but we still have a responsibility in a marriage to take care of ourselves. We should want to be physically attractive to our spouses. It's quite selfish to throw that all to the wind and gorge ourselves with abandon. The second and deeper point is that our culture is constantly trying to separate the body from the person, as if these are two distinct things. In its most extreme iteration, of course, we're told that a person with a man's body can still be a woman, and we're told straight men can and should date these trans women because though they have the physical appearance of men, they're really women deep inside. But this is incoherent. As straight men, we're attracted to women, not just for their bodies, but their bodies are certainly a significant appeal. It wouldn't make any sense at all. It would be totally unintelligible to say that you're attracted to women, but you're neutral about their bodies. Their bodies are what make them women. For all of us, our bodies are what make us who we are. This is, I think this conversation has certainly gotten more esoteric than was necessary for a discussion about a Netflix dating show, but I just go wherever the path takes me. And now it takes me to a place where I must say that Love is Blind is not canceled. It's the critics of Love is Blind that are today canceled. If you want to join my exclusive fan base or a cult, as really that's what it is, we're forming a cult, then all you got to do is click the subscribe button and ring the bell below this video to stay up to date with all my content. And if you want even more, you can watch or listen to my show at thedailywire.com, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Looking forward to welcoming you to the Sweet Baby Gang.